Hello, my fellow reptile enthusiasts. In this video, I'm going to do a unboxing, setup, and review of the Moistenland Reptile Misting System. I've recently switched over to a bioactive setup for one of my ball pythons. Just a basic 40-gallon tank. I purchased a bioactive kit from the Bio Dude online. And I got everything set up, and I think the tank looks really awesome. Like I mentioned, it's for a ball python that I have. And I was misting it daily, but the humidity levels were just not staying where they needed to. And my ball python shed, and as you might be able to see, there's he had quite a bit of trouble. There's some stuck shed, just in pieces all over the tank. And so I moved him into something that I could keep a little more moist, so I could help him get the rest of that shed off. But I saw that there was a need to upgrade my enclosure with some form of misting system so it stays regularly humid where it needs to for a ball python. So I was looking on Amazon, and there's a whole lot of options for misting systems. I've tried a couple different ones over the years that you can pick up at a local PetSmart or Petco, but I really didn't have really good results with them at all. They ended up breaking after a very short amount of time. Everyone says get a Mist King, and I mean, I'm sure that is definitely the best option to go. I've never owned a Mist King system. I feel like they probably are the best, but I'm just a small-time hobbyist. I only have a couple of snakes in tank enclosures, and I really don't feel like investing the money in a Mist King when I only have 2 snakes that are going to benefit from it. So I was looking into cheaper alternatives, and I found this Moistenland Misting System on Amazon for a relatively cheap price. And, a lot of times with something like this, you get what you pay for. So we'll get it out, set it up, and see what it's capable of. Okay, so the box is open. We've got our instruction manual here. We've got the actual system itself. That's going to be what you program everything into. Then we've got our hose to run to the nozzles. It does come with an adapter. I didn't know if it was going to come with an adapter or not. It's a USB adapter, which is kind of a drawback. But I noticed in some of the reviews that some people said it came with an adapter, some people said that it didn't. But apparently mine does have an adapter, so that's a huge plus. And then just the different nozzles and things like that. So I'm going to try to start setting this up, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, first step after getting everything unboxed is you're going to cut the zip ties off of your distribution hose. And basically you only get one bundle, I guess you could say, of hose. You're going to have to cut it into segments so that it can go to everything that it needs to. There are no pipe cutters included, unfortunately, so I'm going to recommend a good pair of shears or just a really good pair of scissors. I guess you could probably use a utility knife as well, just whatever you have handy around the house. Next, you'll take your distribution hose and hook up the filter part, and this is what's going to go in your reservoir. And you'll just make sure that that connects real good. Push it together, and you'll just drop that in your reservoir. Once your filter end is placed in your reservoir, for me, I'm just going to use a gallon of water. This is purified drinking water. Ideally, I would like to use distilled water because I know this is operating through machinery, and typically it's best to use distilled water for something like that. But I have searched all over town and have been unable to find any distilled water. I guess there's some kind of shortage or something. So I'm going to use some purified drinking water because that's what is at my disposal. And that end goes in the reservoir, and then you'll take the rest of your distribution hose, cut it on this end, and that end will be plugged into the intake, the left side of your module here. And once you've plugged your hose into the water intake port of this module here, just give it a little tug and make sure that it doesn't come loose or anything, because that's the best way to make sure that there's not going to be any kind of leaks or anything like that with it. Alright guys, so your next step, you're going to take more of the distribution hose, plug it into the right port, and that's the out intake of the module, and that's what's going to actually hook up to your nozzle, one of the nozzles. There's 2 nozzles that the set comes with. If your tank has a mesh lid like mine, you may have to cut a hole in the lid there for the nozzle to slip through for the hose, or if your tank has cord ports automatically built in like mine does, you can slip them through there as well. I've already got my first nozzle set up. If you're only planning on using one nozzle, you'll have to make sure to put in this black cap right here. And that's going to keep the water from continuing on out the top of the nozzle. It'll go on down to the misting part of it. The set automatically comes with 2 nozzles, so if you only want to use one, that's the process for that. I'm planning on using both nozzles, one for the left side of the tank and then one for the right side. I'm going to go ahead and get the right side set up right now. Okay, now that I've got both of my nozzles set up, we can talk about how to set a timer on the module. So you just hit a button to turn it on, and the top is how long, the bottom is how often. How long is how long you want the mister to keep spraying in the tank. And you can keep hitting this button or you can hold it in. It goes all the way up to 99 seconds. And then once you get to that point, you have a couple more options. You'll have, that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So I'm probably going to set mine to spray for about 30 seconds or so. I think that'll be good. And then next you can set how often. And 0.1 through 0.9 are hours. So that's 1 all the way up to 9 hours. Then it becomes 10 hours, 11 hours. And that goes all the way up to 23 hours, I believe. And then it becomes days. 1 day, so once a day, every 2 days, 3 days. And that goes all the way up to 30 days. And then the L1 is every 10 minutes. And then every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes. So then any of those settings is fine. I probably want mine to go probably about once an hour. I think it's going to put out quite a bit of moisture, spraying for 30 seconds every hour. So I passed it, but you get the point. Every hour it's going to spray for 30 seconds. All right, now let's see what kind of moisture output this thing gets. Okay, so that's quite a bit of moisture that it puts out. That's pretty impressive for such a small unit. All right, and just a few other things that the kit comes with. It does come with 2 filters, so you'll have another filter. It also has an additional nozzle that you can use. I guess if one of them was bad or if it broke on you. You'll have some zip ties, as well as the suction cups that you can use. There's no way to actually adhere these suction cups to the nozzles. You could zip tie them on there, I guess, if you wanted to. I just use my kind of makeshift way to keep them in there. My tank on the cord ports has, of course, places you can click cords or hoses into. So that's what I utilized. And I had some distribution hose left over. You may or may not have any or maybe not this much, depending on, you know, how much of a distance you have between your reservoir and your tank. Something else to note is if you need your misting system to spray like once daily at a specific time, like let's say you want the misting system to spray every day at 7 a.m. There's no way to internally program into the system the time of day that it is. So the way that it works is as soon as you plug it into power, that it records the time at that moment. So you plug it in right at 7 a.m., 24 hours later, it'll spray at 7 a.m. because that's when you gave it power, and it remembers that. Another thing is, you know, if you unplug it, does it forget your settings? No. If you unplug the power, it still is going to have your most recently programmed settings in there. I've tried it a couple times now, and it remembers those settings. So if you have a power outage or you just need to unplug it for a moment, you will not have to reprogram that setting back in there. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I feel like overall this product is a really great value. All in all, it seems to work really well at this point in time anyway. You know, I have purchased misting systems before in the past and they didn't hold up. So I'm not going to just automatically recommend this product to you guys. Before I actually publish this video, I'm going to wait a couple weeks and see how the product holds up. And of course, you know, have that at the conclusion of this video, kind of a follow-up. But as things stand right now, I feel like this is a really great value. I ordered it from Amazon, and I will post a link in the description. But with tax and everything, it only cost me, you know, $44 to buy the system. And when you compare that to the cost of a Mist King, which is going to set you back somewhere in the ballpark of $200, that's a big difference, especially if you're on a budget or if you're just an entry-level reptile hobbyist who only has a couple of pets to take care of. You know, that's a big deal. So I know I saw a lot of reviews online that kind of criticized this unit for, you know, not working initially right out of the box, or breaking down after a couple weeks or so. Also, a lot of people complained about it being really noisy for some reason, and I would say that I don't agree with that. I mean, you guys could hear it in the video earlier, and I don't feel like it was overly noisy, no more so than any other misting system. I mean, you can expect there's gonna be noise no matter what you're using. You know, you've got a motor that's pumping water, so you know there's gonna be some noise from that. But I didn't feel that it was overly noisy. I don't see it really being a bother by that. Now, will it hold up? I mean, that's an entirely different question. Like I said, I'm going to give it a couple weeks, see if I have any problems with it, and we'll go from there. All right, it has been 2 weeks and the mister is still working perfectly. As you can see, there's plenty of moisture in the terrarium at the moment. It just sprayed a couple of minutes ago. And I have to say that I'm very happy with this product. I ended up adjusting the settings on it to spray 20 seconds every 2 hours just to get a little bit higher humidity in here. And my ball python, as you can see, he's out and he seems to like it. He's been out a lot more lately. He's been a lot more active and doing really well. And that's always a great thing to see. And I'm really happy with this product. I can say that I do recommend it. If you're needing a tank mister for your reptile setup, maybe you don't have to invest in a Mist King. You might check out this. I'm going to put a link to it in the description of this video. And hopefully you guys can have success with it like I have. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I know I haven't been that regular on YouTube in recent months. I'm trying to get a little bit more involved, but other commitments have come up and have kept me from being as active as I would like to be on here. So if you guys have any suggestions or recommendations for how to improve the channel or videos that I could do, I'm always open for advice. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.